Hello everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Citrus Cast. I'm your host, Benji, once again joined by Plainset, also known as
Hello.
Kramer, Snowfox, known as Aidan.
Hello, how we doing?
We also have a special guest this week, which is Adam. You right, Adam?
Yeah, right, boys. How are we all doing?
He's not a Scouser, even though that intro may have led you to believe otherwise. But yeah, how you boys been?
Been alright?
Eagerly awaiting this week.
Eagerly
Yeah,
awaiting.
it's been a week. It's been a long week of just vibes.
Bribes or vibes?
Bribes.
You bribing?
No, I'm not bribing. No, but if I was
You're being
bribing
bribed.
someone, we do not speak of it. But yeah, no, just vibes, vibing, chilling.
Good. So I'm going to be picking the topic this week, and what I've decided to go for is urban legends, and more specifically some lesser known ones that we can have a chat about, and some bits.
Very nice, very nice.
Urban legends. My supernatural fandom history will come in handy today. Then
That's why I asked you this week, Adam. That's why I
So you know more.
wanted to get you in. So yeah, there's a couple little stories that I've got, which I want to tell you, and then there's just some we can have a bit of a chat about, and this, that, and the other.
Sounds good.
So I've got one that I'm going to read to you to begin with a story which is probably going to be the best urban legend I think I've ever read, because the story behind it is fantastic, and then the explanations at the end of it is fucking incredible.
Okay.
So yes, this is a terrifying Japanese urban legend.
You're kind.
Be sure to watch out for the ghost of the slit-mouthed woman, more commonly known as the Kushaki Onana. This popular and ancient urban legend originates in Japan during the Heian period, roughly 1200 years ago. Japan is known for its number of frightening ghost stories, with this one in particular being beyond chilling. The legend commences with a stunning woman who was married to a samurai. But beware, looks can be deceiving. She was very vain, and one day went as far as cheating on her samurai husband. When he found out about the affair, he grew very enraged and slit her mouth from ear to ear, giving her a Glasgow smile. As I'm sure back in ancient Japan, it was still referred to as a Glasgow smile.
Yeah, no, you're joking. I don't think Glasgow was known about.
nah, Glasgow was known the world over, Creamer.
Especially in ancient Japan. Following this savage action, he quickly asked, "Who will think you're pretty now?" Although the original tale is a cautionary one to remind people to stay faithful, the story takes a gruesome turn. In 2007, a coroner found records of similar shocking cases during the time of day that the story takes place. The records show that many children had died at night. Rumoring sightings of a woman with similar features were at the time and place of their deaths, giving a frightfully realistic twist to the legend. Now, do you want to hear the explanation at the end of the page? Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
This
I'm
apparent
ready.
phenomenon can be explained by a woman wearing a mask. And then
COVID-19 strikes again.
that is
Even though it was 2007.
that is the end of the page, and that's it. Well,
Wait.
That's great. That
I was doing
really enjoyed that.
when I was
Solid.
doing the research. I found that one. It just made me chuckle. So,
It's a little bit weird though.
right.
What you
You
mean?
get invaded. So the reason why she is the urban legend is not because of her own actions,
But because
but
of someone
because of
else's. It's a story
because
for
of her
revenge.
husband
Yeah.
thinking that did she actually cheated?
Yeah,
She
she
actually
cheated on him.
Yeah, I think that was part of the story. Yeah.
So she cheated,
Yeah.
and so her husband got so enraged, he created a demon.
Pretty much, yeah. That's.
I mean, it's an interesting
I'll be
story.
honest,
But
Ian, there's not a lot of lore behind this one. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, I mean, it's a very simple story. Woman cheats on man. Man,
It's
gives her a glass.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. End off. I feel like the relevance is more recent than anything else.
Yeah. So
Experience playing for a mask.
yeah, that's what really made me laugh. So next one
Topical.
is an English English urban legend. Mind you, I think
Well,
the rest.
We do like some like British ones
I think
because
they
some of them are
actually.
more. Some of them are quite unique, though, aren't they?
I mean,
Like you get the Japanese ones, but they're unique in the sense that they're very
Japanese.
Japanese.
I need to be going to say that.
But with like British ones,
Are unique because they're in Britain?
no, I get the feeling that they're unique because of how varied they are in comparison to everything else.
I disagree. I think we're probably the least varied of them.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, go on, Ben. Go on.
Right.
Let's see how different this is to general.
They can be the judge.
You may have heard of this one because there was a recent trend. I say a recent trend. It happened a few years ago, but it was someone dressing up as this particular thing and scaring people. But it is the Owlman of Mornan. It's hard to imagine anyone tickling the Owlman of Mornan at the end of a mile-long sheltered narrow lane. The small churchyard of Mornan was a sacred spot long before the 13th century church was built. Here, with views over the mouth of the Helford River, and in an adjacent wood, sightings of a flying creature about 5 feet tall, half man, half owl, with glowing red eyes, silver feathers and crab-like claws, have terrified tourists since the 1970s. Oddly, all but one of the dozen or so sightings of the Owlman have been girls or young women, mostly under 16. That's it. There's a short one.
Very short, sweet.
But yeah,
I actually remember this as well.
Stood out because
when they were dressing up and going around.
Yeah. I remember watching them ages ago.
Yeah,
it stood out, this one. Because
it was quite a good story though.
Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say it's quite a good story. Like it's not unique, is it? But as Aidan was gonna bring up, but it's a good story.
There's a similar one they've got in America, the Mothman.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I've heard that one actually. Yeah,
it's in very similar vein. They do a BuzzFeed Unsolved on the Mothman. We should do a not a BuzzFeed. We need our own feed. Lemon feed. Lemon feed Unsolved of the Owlman of Mornan.
Go something.
Do you reckon we'll know when we've taken that that moniker too far?
Nah. Keep it going forever.
If there's a line that we could cross with that.
What do you think about that one? Do you reckon it's real? Do you reckon the Owlman of Mornan exists in Helford?
No.
Not in Helford anyway.
Oh, no. Not in Helford.
No, maybe elsewhere, but not in Helford.
I imagine most of these urban legends will have a basis in fact, but
some of them are just probably fucking pissheads who saw a pigeon in the tree one night and like, fucking hell.
It's a large pigeon,
though. Yeah.
It's such a large pigeon, it's been stuck as a birdman.
Rumour has it there's a pigeon haunting Helford that terrifies great eagles by its sheer size.
That is a British folk tale.
Aren't there some like giant owls though?
There's some pretty
big
owls can be big. I mean, I think one is actually called an eagle owl.
Can get.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that it's probably because they love seeing this giant owl one night and thought that looks like a guy dressed in an owl suit.
I don't think.
Or maybe it was just
that big. Aidan.
But
maybe it was like just
more likely they got scared by someone in a Halloween costume of Hawkman.
Yeah.
Or Owlman, who's the superhero?
Nighthawk.
All right.
Nighthawk, sorry.
What would you do? What would you do if you went down the street at night and you were out in the countryside, you were going camping out in the countryside. It's nice, clear skies, got a couple of trees surrounding you, and you saw in the far distance this owl man of Mornan or whatever. What would you do?
I'd be pretty worried.
If I ever saw him, like not, I see an owl and think it's him.
You know, fact, it's the Owlman. You would run. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on that. Is he like a guy with an owl's head, or is he
half man, half owl?
Yeah, but it's never described.
The pictures I've got here is an owl head.
It's an owl head and wings, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
With the legs of a human.
Oh,
That's pretty scary.
just like your
Yeah,
average
but
sized
just
man running at you with wings and a beard, and a bird's head turning
Yeah,
360 degrees.
I think the thing that was scared me the most, not necessarily the huge size of the owl, but its knobbly knees.
To be fair, it does say it's only about 5 foot tall, so you could probably just give it a fucking smack and run off.
I thought
I was thinking,
almost
like,
as tall as Aidan, huh?
you said it's an owl man, right, Ben?
Yeah, and
It's owl man. Just
not
kick
a
him in the
man
nuts. He's got human lower parts.
Maybe.
Knee between the legs.
You could have it. You could have it.
Hope that works.
Yeah, but wouldn't it just whack you with its giant wings?
I might do, yeah.
Like it's running at you, legs and all, skinny, scrawny little legs.
Right, you lot
giant
are making a
wings,
mockery of the owl man.
giant
This is
head.
a terrifying tale, and you're talking about kicking him in the bollocks.
Exactly.
You're making a mockery.
Exactly.
To
that's
be
the
fair,
point I'm making.
that should be the appropriate response to any terrifying human figure.
Yeah. Is it a man? Is it a woman? If it's a man,
Who
kick him in the balls.
cares? Kick it in the bollocks.
Kick it in the bollocks. Nobody's got fucking a 12-foot wingspan.
Flies, picks you up, and carries you off to his nest.
Right, next one. So there's an urban legend about this, and then there's some. This one is actually probably one that's quite grounded in fact. To be fair,
This one, isn't it?
This one is called the Beast of Bodmin Moor,
Heard of this?
and this is in regards
I've heard of this.
to big cats of Britain.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Do you want to carry on, Aidan, or do you want me to let you read it? Read it to you.
No, go on.
Right. So this, in regards to the British big cats, in British folklore, British big cats also refer to ABCs: alien, anonymous big cats, phantom cats, and mystery cats. Feature in reported sightings of large felids in the British countryside. These creatures have been described as panthers, pumas, and black cats.
Jeez.
That's a bit of backstory behind the British big cats. So the actual story behind it. Where's it gone now? Beast of Bodmin Moor. Numerous local sightings of a very large black cat are believed in some quarters to be less spectral feline and more a very real panther or puma, possibly a zoo escapee or illegal release. Sightings of the Beast of Bodmin Moor are the most famous examples of alleged wildcat sightings in Britain. The similarly alternative beats of Buchan from Aberdeenshire have been reported since the 1930s all over Britain. Big cats have been captured or shot over the years. Pumas in Scotland, Canadian and Eurasian lynxes, a serval or ocelot have been found on the Isle of Wight, and clouded leopard in Kent. It is believed that many of these were captured, domesticated to some extent. One of these Scottish pumas apparently enjoyed being tickled.
Of course
now,
it did.
I actually have a story about this, as in when I was reading this, it reminded me of a story that my gran used to tell me when we were little. And when she was younger, she used to live down south, and there was this near where she lived. There was like this woodland, and she used to say that there used to be giant rabbits that would live in the woods.
Yeah.
She was like, I think it's true what she was. Well, at least I think she believes it's true. But some of it were exaggerated. She was like, "Oh, they were as big as us." So, like, a kid.
6 foot. Yeah.
There were rabbits that were apparently as big as a kid and stuff like that. But she used to always frighten us with this tale because I can remember she told me after it I'd watched Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were Rabbit. So all I could think about with these giant fucking rabbits running around. But it was a funny little story that she used to tell me, and it made me think of this. That there were these rabbits that were massive rabbits.
To
be fair,
what do these rabbits do?
No, she just said they used to see him, and then she would say that sometimes she described it as hunters would come round, but this could be fucking anything. It could just been fishermen and people like that. But apparently there were hunters that used to come out trying to hunt these big rabbits, which they could have been, but I doubt it.
Yeah. No.
With this like Bodmin Moor cat,
Yeah.
Beast of Bodmin Moor, a couple of years ago, would have been 2016, I went down to Cornwall on holiday, and we actually went to Bodmin. Bodmin Moor is where Jamaica Inn is, if you remember the TV show that was on like the BBC where no one could hear a word that was going on in it. But Jamaica Inn, it's famous for like this whole underground sort of behind the scenes, like gambling and like piracy and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But Jamaica Inn is set in Bodmin Moor, and it's named after this town called Bodmin in Cornwall. And I went there on holiday, and we went to the Bodmin jail.
Yeah.
And I can actually it's got a similar vibe to the Beast of Bodmin Moor, this urban legend. Just the atmosphere that the jail had, it was horrible. Like people went there for serious crimes, and it was a place where urban legends themselves would be created just from what was going on inside the jail. So I kind of like this one, this Beast of Bodmin Moor, because it's got this general vibe of like, ooh, is it real? What actually went on?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I think
Kinda-
it's real.
I think I think there have been wild cats that have got out, big cats, and they have captured. So I do think this, like I said, I do think this is one that is probably grounded in reality the most.
Yeah, I mean, massive cats is like quite easy to do, especially with like illegal trade. There's a zoo nearby, especially you can get out quite easily.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really think it's full core. I just think it's like there's some wild cats over there. Do you know what I mean? And people have exaggerated it because they weren't expecting it to be there.
Yeah, there was like a amateur documentary made on YouTube, which is quite good. Check it out, a decent one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
To be fair,
I could go ahead in.
I was gonna say, like with Bodmin Moor, it is a huge place. Like the moor itself spans almost like the width of Cornwall. It is huge.
Yeah.
So like the chances of seeing something are slim. However, when you do see it, it will look weird and out of place. So that's probably sort of where the grounded in reality is. They probably saw a wild cat and thought, holy shit, what's that doing there? Let's run the other way. And then like it's just got distorted over time.
Yeah, good. Right.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more. So the next one is the Alaskan Triangle. Ooh.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Everyone knows of the Bermuda Triangle, but you might not know about the Alaskan Triangle. On average, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in Alaska, according to the LA Times. So even if there is nothing supernatural going on, it's easy to get lost in the Alaskan wilderness, which, you know, to be fair.
Yeah, it's the wasteland.
The Tlingit tribe, who live in Junea, have their own explanation for the high number of missing people. Evil spirits called the Kushtaka. The Kushtaka are shapeshifters, half man, half otter. Not owl. Otter. Who lure women and children to the water with fake cries in order to steal their human spirits and drown them.
It's like Spirited Away, that.
It is. So, that's it. Another short one. A lot of these are quite short, to be honest.
I don't think. Well, I believe that they believe it's true.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's true myself.
But,
I feel like it's just Alaskan wasteland and people get lost.
Well,
and then they probably do end up falling in some kind of river.
To be
And
fair,
then drowning.
there is quite a lot of these in Alaska because you've got the Wendigo, which if you've played Until Dawn, you'll know.
Yeah, the Wendigo.
Wendigo is quite a common one, especially in like mountainous regions and quite cold climates where you get those situations of people getting trapped with no food.
Could be caused by, as you say, lack of food, water. If you're cold, hypothermia, lack of oxygen, you can hallucinate. Maybe the story of the Wendigo is what the Wendigo is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People fear Wendigo, so when they hallucinate the Wendigo. Because they don't
Possibly.
But some of the lore around the Wendigo is you turn into one if you resort to cannibalism.
Yeah.
So you get possessed, whatever.
By the spirit of the Wendigo.
Yeah. What do you think of that one? Real, fake?
What, the Wendigo? Or?
No, the
Ottoman.
The fucking the Ottoman.
The
Yeah.
Ottoman.
The Ottoman.
half human, half otter.
Half human, half otter.
Depends what half.
Significantly less frightening than Owlman, to be honest.
Less frightened. No, I'd be more frightened if a half otter, half man came
Oh,
on me than half owl.
I'd rather fight half an owl than half an otter. Otter are
Not a
vicious.
chance.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd rather fucking fight an half owl than an half otter. Otters are
The
vicious.
top man of an
fuckers.
otter is it the top half of an otter, the bottom half of a man,
We'll say
or is it?
the almond.
I
the other
imagine
way round.
arms, legs, and teeth.
So it's a human face with an otter's like legs.
I'd say it's the other way around.
But an otter's body with
Actually,
human.
no, because it did say that they lure women and children. So if you saw like a massive fucking otter, you wouldn't go near it, would you? So it probably would be top half a man and bottom half an otter.
Just got a tail at the end, and maybe webbed hands and feet.
Yeah.
2 buck teeth. It just turns away when it lures them in.
Right. Next one. The Boggy Creek Monster in Arkansas. He's commonly accepted to be around 7 to 8 feet tall and covered in hair. Legend says that he roams the creeks of rural Arkansas. He was first spotted in 1834 when people reported sighting a wild man. People still claim to spot the Boggy Creek Monster today, and he has been subject to 5 feature-length films, including 1972's The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Never seen it.
Never seen
You gotta
it.
love it when you gotta love it when they come up with these creative titles.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah. There's apparently near the area there are warnings around the area saying Bigfoot area.
Oh, really?
Stay on the marked trails. Yeah. So
Trials or trails?
trails, marked trails. He's a Bigfoot subspecies. This fella.
All it is someone got lost in a bog, got covered in the bogginess, and then ran into some people, and the people ran with, "Oh my god, look at that creature!" All the guy wanted was a clean bath.
All the guy wanted was a clean bath.
He wouldn't want a bath, he'd want a shower.
He wanted a clean bath so he could get the bog off of him.
Alternatively, it could have started out as something completely made up to convince children to stay out of areas that they didn't want them going in, like dangerous areas like the bog.
Yeah, true.
And it's just morphed over time to where people don't actually know that it was originally false. I mean, yeah. I imagine a lot of them probably started out like that.
Yeah, it's a tale to go like stay off that farmer's land, and then it's turned into there's actually something nearby.
There's a bug.
Yeah.
There's a bug man.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of eDNA?
eDNA.
eDNA, not dino DNA. eDNA.
Oh well. No.
You not heard of it?
No.
Yes,
Wait,
but I don't know what it is.
Wait, environmental DNA?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, okay. I've never heard it called that though.
Yeah. So they've famously done it in some mountain region in America for Bigfoot, and then they did it in Loch Ness as well. And basically, what it is, they've took samples from areas and compared it to like other areas and see what species live nearby. So like they did.
Because
if
if something eats something, you can find it basically.
Yeah, it just leaves its traces. But they did one in Loch Ness, and they were like, there was an
Unidentified.
Well, no, but there was large amounts of eel DNA in there that they really didn't expect. So people have said now that the Loch Ness monster just must be a fucking big eel. But they did one in America, and they picked up this one eDNA, and there was traces of fur that they found, and they didn't have like a match the record for it, which was quite interesting. But
they are finding like new species of like animals all the time.
Well, the thing is, they've not even discovered the full size of the planet. Half the ocean's still undiscovered. Probably more than half the ocean's undiscovered.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can't
who knows what's living down there?
Yeah.
Don't you fucking say it.
Stuff I don't want to think about.
Right, okay.
So does it begin with Meg and end in Ladon?
We're not talking about this. Absolutely. Right. No,
we'll get Jack on as a special guest for that topic.
Yeah.
Right.
The Megalodon.
At some point.
The biggest thing I hate about that one, and I'm going to say it, and we're going to end this talk on it. It's not real, and if you find yourself going into the depths of the deep, dark ocean, the biggest thing you will find is a fucking blue whale who's going out there, probably sleeping and chilling, eating some mackerel, some sea mackerel or whatever. It won't be there trying to outrun this fucking giant shark that died out millions and billions of years ago.
Billions?
How'd you know, though?
Yeah, you never know. You don't know what's down there. We could go down there and find sea dragons for all anyone here knows.
Sea dragons.
It's not real.
I mean, it was
not
real. It's just extinct.
I mean, yeah.
I'd like to point. Look, I'll accept this, and we can move on from it and back to the urban legends. But all I will say is, if you took a picture of a platypus and showed it to someone in 1 AD, they'd tell you that wasn't real either.
Yes, but they wonder what the fuck this photograph is.
Yeah, because they wouldn't know what a photograph was.
They wouldn't know what a photograph is. They think it's a painting.
All right, tell them it's a really, really good painting of a mythical creature, and they'd believe it.
Ah, yes. Let's show them this painting that's HD photorealistic.
You know what I mean? It could have been like hieroglyphics. To be fair, were pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It could have been something like a cave drawing. Something of the like.
What, a cave drawing of some men taking down a woolly mammoth?
But you know what I mean. It could have been like, here's the size of a man, here's the size of a platypus, and they could have gone like, this platypus is a man-eater, even though it's so small. They could have started their own myths and legends. That's how myths and legends start.
Ah, yeah, the mysterious platypus that eats people.
In 1 AD, anything.
What's the poisonous?
What?
They're not poisonous.
Poisonous?
I am about 90% sure they've got a poisonous spur in their legs.
What?
They're venomous, Adam, not poisonous.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's in the back legs. Yeah, the hind legs. So if they kick you, apparently Ben's got an aversion to the word poison, but
because it's two different things. That's why poison is when you
whatever.
Poison's when you eat it. Venom's when someone inflicts you with it.
It's bites.
Yeah, it's not. It's not lethal.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Well,
anyway,
not to a human.
Right, we're not talking about fucking platypus.
Right, go on. Anyway,
we have gone off top. We have gone off on a tangent.
I forgot what I was saying now about fucking DNA and shit.
DNA
unidentified, America, somewhere, Bigfoot.
Yeah. Do you know what one of the biggest flaws would be behind sort of like indigenous Bigfoot knocking about?
What?
Well, sort of like there wouldn't be a large enough population to sustain it.
No, I know.
Sustain like a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like species, yeah. It'd just be the one of them, like the last of the species kind of thing.
Because like otherwise,
but by definition, the last of the species, unless you've got a lifespan of like several hundred years, because these legends have been around forever.
Like another creature I know.
I mean, the tardigrade is supposed to be invincible, isn't it?
The who?
What?
The water bear, tardigrade.
Don't know.
I've never heard of tardigrade.
Like it's supposed,
to be honest, that's
to be able
a new one.
to like survive like a nuclear bomb.
There's a jellyfish which is theoretically immortal.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Do you not know that?
They're just electricity, aren't they? Like
no, they're just electricity.
They're just electricity. They don't need electricity.
No, they're also.
No, it's like what's the word? The
Parallel sting.
No, not what they do to you. What they're made of.
Oh, like slime, but it's not slime. I know what you mean.
What the fuck are you on?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna escape me. It'll come back to me in a minute, and I'll just shout it out randomly.
What's your point, Adam?
They're hard to kill because there's nothing really to kill.
What?
I don't really know. My brain sort of got halfway down the thought and then just went off somewhere else.
Well, there's this particular
I stopped paying attention to that point.
Which can revert itself back to an earlier stage of its. So if it gets damaged, for example, it contracts a disease or something like that. It can revert itself to an earlier stage of its life.
It's like
so it's got a checkpoint.
No, wait, hang on. No, I'm googling this now. So basically, it basically makes a kid inside its own body, and then like has the kid, and then the main one dies, and it lives on as the kid because it self-populates.
Yeah.
So the being itself never dies, but it's actually like its kid. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Sort of. Still, neat way of
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's sort of on a similar vein to the the lobster, because we don't actually know how long a lobster can live for in the ocean, because we catch them all.
Yeah, I was going
or
to say,
it
as long as
gets
it takes a
eaten.
human to eat it, basically.
So we don't actually know the lifespan of a lobster. It could live for several hundred years for all we know, but we're either eating them or it gets eaten elsewhere because
the bottom of the food chain, basically, yes.
Yeah.
Can't turn your nose to a lobster, I'll be honest.
Never
Anyway,
had it.
I can. I don't really
never
like
had lobster. Fucking hell. Right. I'm not getting into that now because we need to get back on track to what we're fucking talking about. After we took a 10-minute tangent talking about fucking jellyfish and shit.
And platypuses and stuff, yeah.
Right.
What are these urban legends?
The next one. I've only got a couple more. The next one is the Ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon.
Oh, I know this one, yeah. It's creepy, innit?
Right, okay. So, the story of Slaughterhouse Canyon, also known as the less frightening Luana's Canyon, takes place during the gold rush. During the 1800s, there was a family who lived down in the canyon. They were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day, the father did not return, so his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children's cries anymore, put on her wedding dress, murdered her children, and then threw herself into a nearby river. The next day, she fucking hell, cream. The next day, she succumbed to starvation herself. The legend states that if you go down to Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now you will hear the loud, fucking hell.
Agonizing?
Yes, agonizing cries of the mother who lost her mind. That was...
Yeah, yeah.
What?
The only thing I'll say is that I don't know, the version I heard, it was a lot more gruesome with how she killed the children.
Go on.
It didn't like. Well, it was basically the same, except it specific. My one specifically said that she cut them to pieces.
Oh, right.
Well,
which makes it seem a lot less merciful killing and more.
Yeah.
Gone insane and murdered them.
Yeah. What do you?
But yeah, mostly the same story there.
What do you think of that one?
I don't really know.
I think one's like that. The only sort of like part that you could be skeptical of is the ghosts are still lingering. The actual backstory of it is like it's so plausible.
It sounds more like a story rather than folklore.
Yeah.
I guess it's folklore because there's no
evidence here.
Like there's no house to be found. There's no newspaper clippings or obituary saying this happened here. So for now it's a folklore, but I mean, it's so plausible. Like maybe it's probably more likely something's been cobbled together from like 100 different stories like it, and turned into just one. But very probably did happen many times.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? It's almost definitely happened.
Oh yeah,
like at some point. It's just whether the crowd.
Even to say it happened in this canyon, in this state, around this sort of region, it's like it probably did. At least one of them.
The undeniable part of it is the ghost living on after. Like that's the only thing you've got. Which
obviously some people believe and some people don't. So.
Mm-hmm. I quite like that one though. That's probably my favourite one so far.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. I do like the
ones. I think ones like that where it's like so plausible and so mostly real and very grounded. Probably the creepiest sort of ones.
I like the 50-50s where it could go either way. There's evidence towards and there's evidence not towards.
Yeah.
So it's Slenderman and that kind of stuff.
See, I'd put him more firmly in the camp of not real.
I disagree.
Definitively.
Disagree.
I don't like the Slender Man. It gives me the creeps. I mean, I know that's the whole point. But
the whole point, most folklore.
No, but
I don't like scary legends. Why? They're too scary.
No, but the thing with like modern urban legends, I think, especially with the internet, is they spread around so much faster, but they're more creative.
Oh, Slenderman did brilliantly. The original posters, doing all the Photoshop pictures and aging them to look like old photos.
Oh yeah,
he did brilliantly with that.
Yeah.
There's what is it with the it's the Siren Head. I forget. I like Siren Head. It's creepy, but I like Siren Head because it stands there as like this normal
telephone
tower,
basically.
normal telephone tower. But the minute it like you actually notice and move it, oh
killed.
my god!
You're already dead.
See, Siren Head is creepy, but I feel like, and it's like with the Owlman, like with all these like ones where it's like two things are amalgamated together. Too unrealistic. It's not creepy enough. Whereas Slenderman at least is on that very line of uncanny.
Yeah,
like it's a man with unnaturally long limbs and no face, but you don't realize that until you're like
dead,
dying.
Yeah, until it's like in front of you. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the plausibility of it. It could just be a creepy man running around with a mask who's like been tortured.
Could just be a creepy man who's had his face melted off with acid,
or he's wearing a mask. Either or.
But that Siren Head last year fucking blew up massively.
Yeah,
only last year.
He got used. No, it's been around for ages. It blew up last year. Like loads of like indie games used it for stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's like this recently with the Backrooms, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that is new. To be fair, that's a new concept.
That's the new one where it's the Backrooms is the urban legend, but it's got stuff in it that you could make out to be urban legends in and of themselves. Yeah. It's like, oh, you find yourself teleported to the Backrooms through a glitch in reality, and then you see like random things that you thought could not have been possible.
Have you not watched the short films, Adam?
For Backrooms?
When you get a minute, go on YouTube and look up a guy called Kane Pixels and watch his stuff.
Yeah, I have seen stuff about it, but I've not gone into proper depth with that one yet.
No, it's really good. Film Theory's done some stuff on it, so
yeah,
I saw that recommended. Yeah. I'm very hit and miss with that channel.
Film Theory.
Yeah.
Why?
Some of them I watch and I'm like, oh yeah, that's quite good, and then others I'm just like, you're just fucking stupid, aren't you? You're not paying attention.
Fucking stupid, aren't you?
I mean, this is the thing. The problem with films, though, really, about like supernatural and like urban legend stuff. You think that really, if they were smart enough, they'd be able to survive. But most of the time, they're just fucking useless, and they deserve to die.
Yeah, but I mean that's applicable to all horror, not just urban legend type stuff.
The thing is, though, I do agree with you. Like, it is just people being stupid. But in that situation, when stress is there, adrenaline's running high, you would make a stupid decision like that. You would, but
then there's the stupid decisions that are made when it's not stressful.
Yeah, I understand.
Right at the beginning, before the killer's even revealed himself.
Should we go into the creepy basement that's just opened randomly, or not? That's one thing.
You close that shit, lock the door, and get out.
Don't even close it. You just lock the door and leave.
Okay, right. So I've got two more. Well, they're not really two more. These aren't really urban legends, but I've got two more, and then I've got a subreddit which I want to talk to you about, which I found whilst doing some research. So
I do have one as well.
Okay.
Well, for at some point.
I'll
keep that in my back pocket for now.
I'll get through these two, and then you can do yours, and then we'll have a look at this subreddit.
Big reveal.
So this is Whitby Abbey and St Mary's Church in North Yorkshire. A cold wind blows in the fishing village of Whitby, said to be home of 12 different sinister spectres. This town is not for the faint-hearted. Dare you look into the abbey's well at midnight. If your heart is pure, the face of St Hilda will appear in the water. But if not, beware, for the devil will take you away with him. St Mary's Church presides, that's right, isn't it? Presides on the top of the cliff in the shadow of the abbey. A phantom hearsay with 4 headless horses and a headless driver can be seen to stop in front of the church, then race along the cliff before plunging out of the edge into the sea. These Gothic structures, once the inspiration of a Bram Stoker's Dracula, stand foreboundingly over the town. So I've actually been there, and it's quite creepy.
It is a creepy place.
It is actually
like it looks like, as haunted places go, it looks like it would be haunted.
Yeah. It's quite sus.
Where's this Whitby?
Yes.
Yeah,
Whitby Abbey.
Oh, no, I've not been Whitby Abbey, but I've been to Whitby. Whitby itself, it's a nice town on the coast.
I was going to say the worst thing is it's on the coast because one of the myths around the area is the sirens off Whitby as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's like a big thing as well.
And then the last one I've got is called the Ram Inn in Gloucestershire. I don't know if you've heard of this, but this has been quite popular on YouTube. A lot of people I know, what's his face? TGF have done one where they've gone and stayed a night over here. And I think Joe Weller's gone as well.
Is that an actual place?
Yeah, it's a place you can go and visit, and they've got full-on ghost tours and stuff like that. But apparently it's like the most haunted place in the entire UK.
Wow.
Apparently,
yeah. Built on the intersection of two ley lines that can be traced all the way to the Stone Age, this decrepit old building is rife with paranormal activity. The legend goes that Stonehenge has energy which travels through the ley lines to feed the supernatural power found in the ancient inn. The complex history is rife with tales of burning witches, monks, a centurion of on horseback, real evidence of devil worship and a ritual sacrifice, and even rumour that a pagan burial site resided in the exact location over 5,000 years ago. Not recommended for children. This is one where you must be truly brave to go to.
Because you're not joking.
But like, I watched the video where TGF went there, and it's quite good. And then Joe Weller did. I'm sure it was Joe Weller. It might have been somewhere else he went, but I'm pretty sure it was there. And it's some compelling stuff. To be fair, I mean, as you know me, I'm a stone cold non-believer, but some stuff it is quite. When you watch it, it's like, ooh, it's a bit sus. But
so what you think? Ghost, yes or no?
Have you ever been to anywhere like that?
I can't say no, I don't think so. Not for me.
Not properly haunted, no.
Aidan, you strike me as a person who goes to these sort of places.
Yeah, ghost hunter.
Ghost hunter kegs.
No, I've not been to any sort of. I mean, you've got your ancient and old like buildings, haven't you? I mean, there's, as I say before, there's the Bodmin Jail. That's considered a haunted like jail.
Yeah.
But I don't specifically go out of my way to like places because it's haunted. I mean, I find them interesting, but and there's Anne Boleyn's house, isn't there? That's supposed to be haunted.
The most haunted place I've probably been is the Tower of London, to be honest.
Yeah. The Tower, if there was anywhere that was going to be haunted.
Yeah.
Well, they found.
You'd imagine.
They found two bodies of children who they suspect could have been the ancient the old princes.
The Princess Anne Tower.
Yeah.
What is this? What tower?
Tower
of London.
Yeah.
So Richard III killed, or supposedly had, the two princes of Henry IV killed. Because
Edward and another Henry, wasn't it? Or an Edward and a Richard.
I can't remember. I did the play. I did Richard III, but I still can't remember the fucking kings. But he was supposed to have the two princes. He sent them up to the tower, ready for the elder prince's coronation. But he had them, or supposedly had them murdered, and their bodies were never found. And so Richard III became king after some other plotting. But they never found the bodies. And supposedly the Tower of London is supposed to have the ghosts of those who died at the tower still roaming it, including the two children. And it would have been, I think, was it the 80s or like 90s or something? It wasn't that long ago in all the grand scheme of things, but they found two bodies of children.
Yeah.
And they don't know for sure, but they reckon it is the two children, the two princes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen that. I also saw someone say like they reckon that the skeletons are actually too developed to be the children that young, but then others said it wasn't, and stuff. So you know, no one really knows.
For and against, yeah. That's interesting, though.
So, Adam, have you got one?
Yes. I sort of remembered hearing about this because we got onto Slender Man, and this is a sort of like there was ideas about this sort of legend beforehand, but then with like Slender Man taking off, it all sort of got condensed into this one sort of urban character.
Yeah.
So it's the legend of Walking Sam. It's from America.
Yeah.
So I'm taking us across the pond for this one. It's an urban legend from state of South Dakota, in the Black Hills and on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So it's got background. This place has got a lot of blood on the land. Hundreds of Indians were killed during a massacre called the Wounded Knee Massacre. It's one of the poorest counties in the United States overall. Like it's like dead last, I think. And in 2015, it had a spree of suicides among teenagers, like mass suicides, hundreds of kids attempting to kill themselves. Between December 2014 and March 2015, there were 103 suicide attempts made by teenagers.
Jesus.
Wow.
And so a lot of the people in the area started to sort of tell tales of this sort of sinister figure that causes it. And obviously, with the rise of Slender Man, they gave him a name and called him Walking Sam.
Yeah.
Also sometimes known as Tall Man or Thin Man.
Why Walking Sam?
I don't know. That's not really there.
Is his name not Sam?
No, nothing I can find actually really goes into why. Like, obviously, he got all these tales of like suicide spirits and stick people that were getting tossed about.
Yeah.
And it all sort of got condensed into an actual sinister figure because of Slender Man. But nothing I can find, at least, actually tells you why it's this one in particular or why they came up with this.
Yeah.
I presume there'll be something there somewhere, but I just can't find it at the minute.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But he's like described as a 7 foot tall figure with eyes but no mouth. Sometimes wearing a stovepipe hat. And they say that when he wanders through the woods and the forests where all these kids like hung themselves and stuff, trying to lure more victims in. You say that when you see him, if he raises his arm, you can see the previous victims hanging from it. And when teenagers hear him calling, he tries to persuade them of their worthlessness, encouraging them to kill themselves. And some people believe he targets younger people because they're more susceptible to his tricks. Which, obviously, it's really, really dark and really recent as well. This all only came up in like the last 6-7 years.
Yeah.
That this one sort of really cropped up and become a thing. And I think it's interesting that an urban legend started up like that and it almost seems like they're trying to look for something to blame.
Yeah, for what's going on. Well, I think that's how most legends start.
So is this?
Yeah, but it's like rather than looking at the issue, they're trying to pass the blame almost. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking for this ghost was here, so let's make a story about it. It's let's stay away from this area, so let's put a ghost there.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is mostly.
I think most of them are. I think this one is more a case of so many kids in this area trying to kill themselves, or some successfully killing themselves. And a lot of people are sort of looking for something to blame for why it's happening, rather than looking at themselves. And that not what I mean. Like, I'm talking like, instead of looking at the system and the situation and the environment and stuff that's caused it, they're creating this mysterious figure that's causing it.
Yeah.
And
I just found that really interesting and dark and creepy.
It is dark and creepy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty weird.
Good story though. For me. Very rough, but very good story.
It's obviously it's like a coping mechanism sort of thing, isn't it? Where people
they're the words that I couldn't find.
People are so shocked by the fact that there's so many suicides. Obviously, they're like, there's got to be something fucking sinister going on.
Yeah.
That leads people to this point. Well, thanks for bringing the mood down.
You know me, always dark and cheerful.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. So, when I was having a look at some of these stories, and I was on Reddit, obviously, and I found the
because
page,
of course,
yeah, and it was what are the creepiest / most disturbing internet rabbit holes that you've gone down? And I was reading some stuff. There's a couple of good ones in here, so I'll read one out now. There's a documentary called The Bridge, which captured 23 of 24 suicides from the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco in 2004. Apparently, the bridge's widely popular suicide rate. By 2004, there'd been more than 1,200 suicides with a 98% death rate. Anyway, it's really dark and sent me on a little research expedition of the suicides. Apparently, the 2% that survived say they instantly regretted jumping mid-air, and that starts to make you think about suicides and how much pain people are in and take that step. And yet there is a shock of clarity once you've done the irreversible.
I've seen that as well, and yeah, the Golden Gate is massively popular suicide spot because of the height it is above the water, and the ease to get to the edge of that bridge.
1,200
for someone to jump from
in a year.
Yeah, I know.
That's ridiculous.
But I mean, that's people from all over America who know that it's an effective spot.
That's true.
Going there, so it's like percentage-wise, it's probably still in the lower regions, but because it's the one location, it seems way higher.
It's not just the height above the water; it's the water itself. Because
it's choppy. It's rocky.
They'll just be swept out to sea and never seen again.
Yeah.
So it's just an easy way to sort of, I guess, hide the pain for other people once they do it.
It is. There's a lot of there's a lot of what's the word? Ideas about what the sort of the best method is, because obviously you if you were going to do it, you wouldn't want it to be. And this is what they call it, like the Holy Grail. It used to be like take the sleeping pills and half a bottle of whiskey, and it's nice, it's peaceful, it's quick, it's painless, it's clean. No one's finding like someone with half a head because they've stuck a shotgun in their mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, but they don't work anymore because they've like made it so that if you did take all like a big massive load of sleeping pills, it'd just make you sick. You'd throw them all back up.
Yeah.
They've made them safer, so there is no longer a method that ticks all of those boxes. And that's why Golden Gate is like so popular, because it does most of them.
Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds, it's the most effective, should we say?
It's one of them. It's very effective. It's easy to access. It's accessible. It's easy to access. It's relatively quick and clean.
I also think it doesn't affect other people, which a lot of people.
Well, that's what I mean when I say clean. It's like it's like the people who throw themselves in the front of a train.
I was going to say this exactly.
They've accepted that the death is not going to be clean, and it's going to cause problems for people.
Yeah.
Who finds them and deals with it.
Yeah.
Whereas stuff like overdose or it depends where you jump from. Jumping onto the water, at least into water from a high height, does that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you jump off a skyscraper, that's still messy.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's two here about the Nutty Putty Caves incident. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So in America, there's a place called the Nutty Putty Caves, which is famous for spelunking. I think it's in Kansas, or it might be Arkansas, one of the two. But basically, there was this guy that went down the. What the fuck was that? That was my phone. Jesus Christ, that fucking terrified me.
It got me as well.
There was there was this guy and his brother. They went down, fairly experienced spelunkers and this, that, and the other. Anyway, one of the brothers got stuck and they just fucking couldn't get him out. Like, they tried to tie rope around his feet and stuff like that. Anyway, he spent something like over a week down there before he obviously died. And because they couldn't get the body out, they just sort of filled the area in with cement around him. And it was just, I remember I watched a video about it and I saw it on air, and it was fucking really creepy. Because imagine being stuck in a hole where you literally cannot move for over a week and then just dying.
It's not my favourite idea now.
Not
even close.
But yeah, I'd fucking that's horrendous. I'd like to do something like spelunking, but in like a.
But I wouldn't for that reason.
Yeah.
No, I watched what's it called, The Descent. Absolutely not.
I'd like to go down to there's one in somewhere in Korea which is like a big massive fucking hole that you can go down and look up. I'd like to do that, but I wouldn't like go crawling about in a hole. That'd be too much there.
If it was like in France, they do tours, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do ones of the catacombs, yeah.
Oh, the catacombs, yeah. But that's all. I'd like to do that's all like mapped out and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, it's quite safe. You've got tour guides and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd do something like that, but I wouldn't do full on free spelunking basically.
Yeah.
Free man.
Aidan, what about you?
Not really my idea of going spelunking.
No,
really. Not no.
Out of all of us, you'd probably be the least likely to die.
Yeah, you'd be great at it.
Yeah,
like a little worm.
Yeah, but
I like absolutely couldn't. Like, out of all of us, I think I've probably got like the widest set shoulders.
Widest belly.
Probably.
I absolutely would not like to get like caught crawling through, like just pressed across the shoulders.
Yeah.
Nope.
See, I like
out of that.
I like cave tours. Like there's a cave near Castleton in the peaks in the Pennines called the Devil's Arse. It's called the Devil's Arse, and I've been there, and it's got this. You can go in it, and they've got like an underground waterway where they used to do some mining, and like they go in, they'd mine it, but it's come flooded with water. But you can like go in this little canoe and do, or not canoe, this little boat that sails like underground through it. It's quite interesting, actually. I'd do that, but spelunking itself, no, I wouldn't do. And I'd have to be around like people who like knew what they were doing and knew it was safe for me to like go anywhere near it, like cave tours. But
that's exactly what I'm like.
Yeah.
But spelunking, not for me. And like you hear like stories again, like urban legends of like people going missing and like wild, like animals and things like that, or wild creatures out of nowhere coming in and like kidnapping people and whatnot. And like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be kidnapped by some random Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever. Like I want to be around people that know what they're doing, know that I'm safe, so I can go home, have some fish and chips for tea, and go to bed. That's all I want to do. No spelunking.
No spelunking for you.
No.
That's why you don't like Terraria, isn't it? Too many caves. Too many caves.
Not non-committal.
Go on, Ben. What are these other urban legends that you found down the rabbit hole of
Right. So this one isn't really an urban legend, but it's a murder one.
Okay.
It's the case of Christopher Watts and the Watts family. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't. Just shut up, Creamer. I only just caught that. I'm disappointed in myself and in you. I've heard of it. I don't know what it is though. Like the name rings a bell, but.
So basically, it was. I think it was 2018. So there was a fella. I'll have to get the names up now, otherwise it will do my head in.
Fella 1, fella 2, girl 1.
No. Mike and John.
Tom, John, Richard, Harry,
Yeah.
Gunpowder Plot.
So it's called Christopher Watts. So it happened in 2018, August
It's
2018.
recent one as well, yeah.
It's quite
very recent.
So it's this fella called Christopher Watts. He had a wife called Shanann, a daughter called Bella, and another daughter called Celeste, who they called Cece. Basically, the wife as well. She was also pregnant with Nico, who was their unborn son.
Okay.
So a bit of backstory around it. The guy Christopher Watts was cheating. He had basically a younger woman that he was canoodling with. So
Okay.
it's believed now that the wife Shanann found out about it, and she was like, right, okay, I'm going to take the kids off and this, that, and the other. So basically, Christopher Watts murdered his wife, and murdered his 2 daughters as well. So he took them out. He worked on, like, the oil fields you get in America.
Yeah.
He buried his wife, and then his 2 daughters he stuffed in, the big massive oil drums where they keep the oil.
Oh yeah.
He stuffed his daughters inside there. So it's fucking some of the you can watch on YouTube. You can find the tapes of like the police because obviously they reported the wife was missing, and the neighbours was like, oh, I've not heard of Shanann in ages. She missed an appointment. This, that, and the other. And the police go round and they go around the house. When they're first looking for him, and he's there, and he's like, you're watching these tapes. He's like, oh, I just really want to know what happened to him and want to find out where they've gone. But fucking, it was shocking. He did get convicted in the end. They did find out that he was bullshitting them. He did get convicted for 3 first-degree murders. So he is serving, I believe it's 5 life sentences with a possibility of parole, without the possibility of parole. Plus 84 years as well. So he's never getting out of prison, basically.
Yeah, you're not joking.
But it's one that I saw not so long ago when I was reading about it, and it's quite weird, and it popped up on here. But it's scary because like they seem to be quite a happy-ish family. Obviously, this guy was cheating, but there was nothing out of the ordinary, which made people believe that he was just gonna fucking flip and murder literally his entire family.
It's a thing.
Yeah, sometimes there. I imagine a lot of the times there isn't. A lot of people sort of like attribute stuff after the fact.
Yeah.
Try and justify themselves missing it when really it's nothing that would have been noticeable.
Yeah.
Like nobody, not nobody, because some people are, but most people who are capable of it, you wouldn't think it until they do it.
Yeah.
Christopher Watts admitted to murdering his pregnant wife Shanann by strangulation. He later admitted to murdering their daughters, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste, by smothering them with a blanket over their heads. Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree murders as part of the plea deal, which when the death penalty was removed by sentencing. So he made a plea deal and got life rather than being sentenced to death, because he obviously pleads to being guilty.
Yeah.
But
kind of reminds me of so locally we've got the story of Fred Bailey Deeming, who was like this mass murderer, but he murdered his family and then he murdered some other people, ran away to Australia and got hanged eventually. But he buried his wife and his children underneath the hearth in his house. Oh
yeah, I do know about that actually.
Yeah, because my dad was writing a script based on like all of that and all that stuff. Pretty interesting actually if you do some research on it.
Like how we've moved from urban legends to serial killers, but fair enough.
Yeah,
it's the same level.
Yeah, but like you hear these things of like murderers, and then they'll turn into urban legends over time, won't they? Because
I imagine
these are like ghosts or that are haunting old houses.
The murder victims could become become ghostly urban legend. Fuck.
Have you ever wondered sort of like the actual logistics behind hauntings and stuff like that? Like why?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why do you think it happens? Like say for example, ghosts.
Can I quickly throw out an explanation?
Go on.
They don't.
Right, okay, fair enough. But say for example, it was proven in reality that ghosts exist. Why do you think hauntings sort of take place?
I mean, presumably it'd be the old. They had some sort of grudge they hadn't settled, something that they had to take care of, and they got stuck, stuff like that. But if that was the case, surely everywhere would be haunted. The humans have been alive for what, thousands of years? How many billions of people have died in that time?
Yeah.
Most of them violently because of how many wars we've fucking had.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But
There'd be so many ghosts.
Why only a particular house or a particular place or a particular
where they died, where something important.
Why would you want to haunt that place?
But all right, bear in mind a lot of my knowledge of this. I'm leaning from Supernatural a lot.
Yeah,
they did a lot of my research for me on these topics.
Wow.
Well, look, they researched it all for their scripts. I watched the show.
Fair enough.
I just didn't have to do the reading part.
Right. So there's one more that I want to talk about, which is not related to. In fact, there's two more actually. I tell a lie because this one carries on to another one. But this one is about gender dysphoria. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Nope.
So there was a set of twins in the 1960s called Bruce and Brian Reimer. They were boys, but Bruce had a botched circumcision, so he had gender reassignment surgery and was raised as a girl named Brenda. The twins were sent to a doctor named John Money, who wanted to prove that gender identity is learned. He made the twins, as children, role-play sexual positions to reinforce the gender reassignment. Brian developed schizophrenia in his teenage years, and Brenda never learned to live as a girl despite constant reinforcement and hormone therapy. At 14, he was told of his surgery at birth, rejected his forced female identity, and took on the name of David. He committed suicide in 2004.
Huh.
Well,
Sad that.
It is quite strange. And then, obviously, because it's twins, it carries on to the last one, which is: have you heard about Dr. Death? Not Dr. Death, the Angel of Death, the natural scientist.
Yes. Yeah.
So he was obviously because Hitler was like with his Aryan race and stuff like that. He wanted to obviously have more twins. Obviously, so they could have more pure breeds, the Aryans and stuff like that. So what was his name? I can't actually remember. It wasn't. I can remember what his name was. Oh, fucking.
No.
No, I'll be honest. I'd mainly know him by the title.
Just his name. No.
Yeah. What's his? I'll have to find his name now.
I'll find it for you. Go on.
Ben's search history is going to be real interesting to whoever is looking at it.
It is quite weird. What's his name? Joseph Mengele.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Hitler tasked him. He was like, right, I want to have more twins so that they're all more Aryans and this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Hitler himself, personally, he was famous for going around having batches of bastards.
Yeah. Shut up. Anyway, so there's this place.
Sorry.
There's this place in Peru now that has like the highest rate of twins birth rates in the world, where this guy used to go. He went there and like one in every 3 births are like twins or something like that, which is fucking
Really.
Yeah, honestly, in this place in Peru. Which is
The thing is, though, the chance of having twins is partially inherited as well.
Yeah, but it makes you think like what sort of fucking research did he actually do back in the day? How is it? Because there's clearly something that he must have made, some sort of.
Why in Peru?
I don't know. This is just where they went because after the war, a lot of Nazis went to South America, didn't they? They fled to South America
To hide because they weren't involved in the UN or
Yeah, it was like you couldn't be extradited or whatever.
Like Hitler's famed for escaping to Argentina and all this bollocks.
I don't think Hitler is.
Yeah, but it's a big belief that he escaped to Argentina.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did go. I wouldn't say we went off topic though. I see it sort of developed it quite well actually. I thought.
Yeah.
Quite good. But we have been recording now for like an hour and 10 minutes, so I think that might be a good stopping point.
Sounds good.
So thank you once again, everyone, for listening / watching. If you have been for the last hour, I thank you, Adam, for joining us on this fucking journey.
Thank you, Adam.
Not a problem.
And we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Bye.
So long.